Let's start with some basics. The definition of a ureterocele, it's a cystic dilatation that develops in the intravesical part of the submucosal ureter. It's more frequent in females. 8% is found in duplicate systems and usually associated with the upper pole. 20% is found in single systems. 10% is bilateral and is usually associated with vesicoureter reflex, 50% ipsilateral side and 20% the contralateral side. It can be ectopic, extravesical, or orthotopic, intravesical. The ectopic form extends into the bladder and into the neck of the urethra. It's the most common form, more than 80%, usually associated with duplex systems, and it can be responsible for reflex on the contralateral side too. The orthotopic part is completely located in the bladder. It's associated with single systems and accounts for about 15% of cases. It's usually diagnosed more in older children or adults. The symptoms can present usually at birth and the first months of life. In girls, we can see the prolapse ureterocele in front of the urethra. It can also present acute urinary retention in boys, UTIs, and recurrent low-grade fever. In older ages and in adults, we see recurrent febrile UTIs, a mild obstruction with dilatation, abdominal or renal pain, lithiasis, LUTS, and urinary incontinence. Diagnosis is made by ultrasound, including prenatal ultrasound. A DMSA scan we can perform to assess the function, and especially the function of the obstructed upper pole, a magnetic resonance urography for renal scars, avoiding cystourethrogram to identify ipsilateral or contralateral reflux, and finally, cystoscopy and undergrain pyelography to differentiate between megaureter and ureterocele, and also to see the obstructed dropping lily sign. In our case, it's a 45-year-old male with a right ureterocele. It's encompassing a stone 1.8 times 1.3 centimeters with hydronephrosis. Our treatment plan is an incision of the ureterocele as close as possible to the bladder floor, fragmentation of the stone, and complete removal of the fragments. We start with the incision. A laser fiber is used, 365 micrometers. We continue with the stone fragmentation with the same laser fiber. We remove all the fragments. And finally, we perform hemostasis with a tourist plasma button on the lip of the ureterocele. So in post-op, There was no need for a double J placement. A Cuvelier Foley was placed with irrigation for 24 hours. There was a next day discharge of the patient, and there were no complications. On follow-up, there was a 3, 6, and 12-month ultrasound follow-up with no hydronephrosis or lithiasis relapse. So our conclusion is that the treatment of a ureterocele using an incision of its orifice as close as possible to the bladder wall is a safe and definite solution without the need of a double J placement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.